thinking about turning green.
The blizzard of the century? That sounds like something out of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh yeah, it was much less pleasant than that, boy.
Wow. Wow. Well, we're live. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you all survived the blizzard of the century. Believe it or not, we're not having blizzards here in Tampa Bay. It's all, business as usual. Although I'll tell you what, I'll be giving you the full report when I get through my first hurricane season. I haven't lived on the East Coast since 2000. So, yeah. Actually, I'm on the Gulf Coast, so not the same, right? Close, but not the same. Anyway, good to see you all. We got some of our usual suspects here with us today. I see Linda, Catherine, Ingrid, Lindsay, Stuart, Wayne, who just got through the blizzard. I'm still in my gym clothes, but deal with it because that's how I roll right now. Hey, today we've got the first iteration of our book review of The Gap and the Gain by Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Now, I know who Dan Sullivan is. He's the founder of Strategic Coach, which is like an entrepreneurial coaching program that people pay significant amount of money to participate in. Benjamin Hardy, apparently, since I've been reading his book, he's a psychologist and he's got some ideas that he thinks are worth sharing. So we're going to be covering the introduction and first chapter. So basically 2 chapters tonight. All right. So get through the introduction and the first official chapter. The introduction is rather significant and lengthy. And I've taken issue with it. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start disagreeing with this psychologist guy. So anyway, we're going to get into it tonight. Yeah, one of the first things he talked about is how wrong Thomas Jefferson was. So, whoa, what did I see? I've never read this book before. And so like it was, user recommended, right? One of our members. And look, the whole point of this is not, just agreement. So that's good. Right. Let's have let's have an argument. Let's have a conversation here. Let's figure out what's workable, right? Not just, oh yeah, it sounds like good stuff. Oh, I agree. Who cares if you agree, right? Does it work in your life? So that's how we're going to be reviewing this book over the next month. Anyway, so far I'm not in, but that's okay. We're gonna review it nonetheless. So I am not in. I see Stuart laughing. Yeah. So what's the value of agreement? Well, I mean, in a sales situation, right? Obviously, you're inducing agreement on the part of the customer that they should exchange some money for the product, right? And isn't that what we're all doing all day long, right? Offering our ideas into the world or buying them as they're offered to us. And so I guess this is the road we're going to go down here a little bit today. You buying or selling? What are you doing? Are you buying or selling? Now listen to this. I've got a friend who he'll not be in communication for months. Like he's doing his thing and this and that. And then suddenly he'll call me months later. And I may text him, hey, happy Easter, how's the kids and blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't even respond. But then he'll call me out of the blue months later. John, how you been doing, man? What's going on? And I know what's coming. He's selling. He's very predictable like that. I've known him for 20 years. But whenever he's got a hot deal, suddenly he's everybody's friend again. And this is kind of predictable if you care to look, okay. But at the same time, we got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should probably listen sometimes too. See, it's hard to get agreement with people and have like a relationship and an actual dialogue if you're out of balance with the mouth and ears thing, right? 2 ears, 1 mouth. So what I have found, and this is something that I will tell you guys is just an unfair advantage as you do this in your life, no matter what it is. And that is look or listen, right? And I'm saying that, metaphorically, it doesn't necessarily have to be visual or auditory, but there's more to communication than just the words. Obviously, right? You could be, I could have, what is that thing where you've got the text to voice machinery, right? And for, the visually impaired, they can use, that sort of technology, which helps read the book to them or whatever the oratory is, right? Or they, yeah, you get what I mean, right? Where it's got a computer robot voice talking, which they're getting pretty good now, right? If you listen to like Siri or Alexa or whatever, they have, and notice that nothing turned on in my room when I said Siri or Alexa, nothing turned on. Those are settings that I don't want you listening to me all day long. But they sound kind of humanized, which can be more convincing than just, the old style dictation thing where it's like, see Bob run, the dog jumped over the fence, right? So that's, pretty robotic. So there's more to communication than just the words. And knowing that, it would be a tremendous advantage for you to be able to hear more than just the words. Now, Wayne's here with us today. Wayne is a video expert, right? He knows how to capture, here's the action, the live action acting, and whatever it happens to be. Okay, so he could see things through the frame. Okay, so that's an arc. Okay, you can see things that others can't see, with the purpose of transferring that and gaining agreement from what? An audience. And I'm sure Wayne can get a lot more into the nomenclature than I can, but I was watching a documentary once on special effects, and they called it selling the effect. So here's, I don't know, the spaceship flying through space or whatever, green screen, right? Imaginary stars and whatever, or Superman flying through, the air. Okay. So if you saw all, the mechanicals behind the scenes, it's like, all right, so here's all the technical stuff that happens. But when the audience sees it on the screen as the product, right? There's the movie. I'm watching it now, right? I'm sold. That looks like the guy's flying through the air. That's real now, right? So that's called selling the effect, or at least that's what I've been told. So this whole idea of communicating effectively to people or causing others to get the message that you want them to get, you got to be able to see and hear from another perspective rather than just the words, or rather than just what you already think you know. And I'm saying this for myself, right? Because I have a situation right now where I have tremendous like opportunity, money, all this is spectacular, lots of people who want to make money. And so I'm communicating with them about, here's the tremendous opportunity and here's what you do. Okay. But I have a tendency to do that from my position as the guy who already knows, as the guy who's already mastered stuff like that. And I know some of you here, Linda, you're probably thinking, yeah, John, yeah, exactly, right? Just do it. Just, you do it. And training, what you need training. So in an effort to provide, greater explanation, elucidation, training, whatever, right? I attempt to find what is the most, as a newbie, right? As someone who's just confronting that opportunity or that communication or that sales pitch or that book or whatever is being communicated. As the newbie, how am I perceiving that? With a much lower level of experience or knowingness, understanding, competence, right? A much lower level. What would be the most important things for me as I show up in that new environment? Okay. Well, the most important things for me, because now I'm thinking, well, I just showed up. Well, it would be to listen, right? To kind of like latch onto every word, to soak up as much data as I could from all the people who are further down the road than I am. Okay. But as a guy who's further down the road, I've got to remember to communicate in a way that's actually going to get through. And that would be, we could say, duplicated. All right. So if I told you, let's say that you were new to planet Earth, okay, and welcome. We're Earthlings, by the way, and we drink liquids out of plastic cups and different kinds of cups, and one of those is called a black coffee mug. Okay, so you might be thinking, oh, black coffee, but then if I say black coffee mug, now I can see, I got the mental picture. I can duplicate what you're saying, right? Black mug. Yes, I got it. Yes. Understanding. And the one thing that holds us back more than anything in my experience and having studied a lot of this sort of thing is just when we don't understand the words. I was going through just today, I was going through a new piece of software that we're going to be putting into use in a business. And some of the labels that they have on different functions are different words than, like, doesn't that word mean that? Well, they're calling it that. Why are they calling it that? That means that, right? I mean, get a dictionary, somebody. And so we're looking at the words. It's like, yeah, that shouldn't be labeled that. Now, fortunately, we've got the ability to get in communication with the software developers and say, hey, change that, don't call it that, right? Doesn't make any sense. It might make sense to the programmer guy, but see, they speak a different language. They speak a different language. So as the marketing guy, as the user of the software, no, we call it that. And that's what it is. All right. So if you think about how powerful, just when we think about understanding each other, which, wow, talk about an interesting proposition these days, right? Understanding each other. Do you think the world understands each other right now? And I'll include myself in that. It's not like, oh, here I am, I've arrived, and all you underlings, you little people down there, you commoners, you, right? No, I mean, I'm in it too, right? For the life of me, I can't understand what makes some people tick, or what are they thinking? I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, at least I'm open to attempting to understand. Okay. But if I can't communicate with these people, or if they can't communicate, I guess would be the way to say it, then there's no way I can understand. So what am I? Yeah, I see that. Hey, Missy. Yeah, rats. You had to bring up the rats and cheese thing again, Missy. I don't say that on every episode. I don't. Okay, I don't. Right. So Missy understands it all. Everyone else is nutsy cuckoo. All right. But all joking aside, didn't Steve Covey say one of the 7 habits of highly effective people is to seek first to understand, then to be understood? That was one of the habits of not just being effective, but being interdependent. We're going to go back through that book again at some point. Maybe after we're done reading whatever this thing is that we just picked up. But we but seek first to understand, then to be understood. So I'm going to seek to understand you. And the more I do, guess what happens? The more I like you. You see, I've been through many schools of thought, and since I started talking about sales, let me talk about that one aspect or one form of communication. I've read sales training books that talks about your customer as your opponent. Your opponent, win lose, and you know what? I've probably sold more stuff than the author of that book, probably. And I disagree. And I haven't seen my customer as my opponent. You know what I've seen as the opponent? Ignorance. There's an old saying, know the truth and the truth will set you free. Free from what? Ignorance. That's what you want to be set free from. So in that communication, sales is a process of enlightenment. Here's the ignorant, not knowing person. And I know some people take issue with the word ignorant. It just means that you don't know. Okay. I'm not saying you're stupid or dummy or that you can't learn or that you refuse to learn. That would be ignorant, right? A little play on words there. But ignorant, I'm ignorant on a lot of things. I don't know. Okay, fine. So ignorant and now enlightened to a higher degree. You know more stuff now. And now you're more enthusiastic to do what? To participate. We agree. So the common enemy then is the ignorance that pervades society and those of which who have not yet availed themselves of whatever my offer is. Okay, so we're going to relieve them of that ignorance. We're going to disabuse them of any erroneous assumptions, right? That's fantastic. Enlightenment. Great. So in that cycle of communication, right, there was a coming together, people getting closer together because we have understanding now, right? We have a dialogue. We have a shared, idea of what could be. and I like you more and you like me more, right? So I don't know about an opponent on that. All right. So then I've also been through schools of thought where it's said that we have more in common than we have different. And in our current times, which I'll use the word divisive, and that's by design, mass media and politics and all that. But if we were able to get underneath that, if we were able to just kind of, take the madness off of the top, do we not have more in common than we do different? I mean, just starting with the obvious, right? Body, air, planet, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Okay, anybody familiar with that, right? So you got, the basics of all basics, survival kind of stuff. And then, kind of like Viktor Frankl talked about man's search for meaning. What was the top, Stuart? You probably know the top of the hierarchy was like self-actualization or self-realization, something like that. But there's, relationships are in there. And now if you can't breathe, then you're pretty low on the hierarchy. Let's handle the breathing thing, and then we'll talk about meaningful relationships. That's higher up, self-actualization and stuff. But we've got at the base of that pyramid, right? We've got ostensibly obvious similarities. How about at the top of the pyramid? I mean, no matter what your leanings are in terms of, unless you're just totally psychotic, and some people are. Okay. But no matter what your leanings are in terms of, your worldview and, governance and economies and whatever, isn't there, some sense of self-actualization, or at least self-determinism, being able to make your mark or leave a legacy, or do something of note. Yeah, I think we have that in common. Okay. Now, people can be on a totally different vector, which I don't get. Like, that's crazy. That's destruction. Okay. But if you think even people who are in the grips of, let's say, an addiction, drunk, right, a drug addict, right? So that would be an escape or an abandonment, an apathy, if you will, in terms of one's ability, or as far as they think, their ability to achieve, self-actualization or leave a legacy or do something of note. I can't, so let me escape. But the person who is striving and reaching, great heights, they also have attention on themselves. Who is it? It was James Allen, as I recall, in the 8 Pillars of Prosperity, which Stuart recommended, which I friggin' love. I got to go through that book again. Like the second time through, I think is going to be even more profound than the first, because like Allen really pumped it out on that. In fact, Bob, Missy, your husband, Bob, was like, this is it. I mean, once you read this, now what? Right? I guess light the bookshelf on fire. You're done. Right? Actually, don't light my bookshelf on fire. I feel smarter just looking at all the books. But he talked about, how no matter what we do, helping others, right? There's some selfishness in there. Okay. And we had to we discussed that. We discussed that because, well, hold on a second. So, I mean, can I ever not be selfish? Or it's like, hold on. Who's doing it? Who's helping the downtrodden? Well, someone who's self-determined, someone who's got attention on what can I do? So there's going to be, and that's a common thing that we all have, there's going to be at least a little sliver of attention on, well, who's doing it? Okay. And the little insignificant thing, somebody's got to show up to do it. Like Goethe said, one must be something in order to do something. All right. So you're going to be involved in that deal. And you can call it, self-involvement. If you don't like the word selfish, fine. Okay. But we have that in common. So I guess here's where I'm going with all this. As we go through our book study group tonight as we go through anything that you're doing throughout your day, whether it's communicating, sending out communication to your customer, your prospect, the client who's about to do the thing or book the llama trip or buy the thing on the internet, right? As you're sending out communication, think about who's going to be receiving it. And as you're receiving communication, because we're in a dialogue all day long, we're constantly being impinged upon, reinterpret. Remember, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Reinterpret the source, or actually just look at the source, right? And then you can reinterpret the communication based on where it's coming from. If people just did this, if they listened and looked more than they just accepted or allowed things in through their filters, then there would be, I think, a lot more sanity in the world. If we, there's this phrase called follow the money, right? So if you're looking at advertisements on mass media, well, who paid for those advertisements, right? And who's funding that media? Not you, right? You're not paying to watch the news or something, right? You're actually the product. You're the product. Okay. So who's paying for those people to say what they're saying to you? Well, look at the commercials and what's their agenda. Now, I know I'm probably stating the obvious to all of you because you've all been hanging around here a bit, and if you follow the money, right? If you seek, well, what's the agenda? Why are they saying this to me, to the American public? What's this narrative, right? Then you can understand more than the person who just, blindly accepts, right? Or cowers in fear because, another wave of, something, I don't, right? And you see what's actually going on. Okay. I like knowing stuff. I like understanding things. I don't like mysteries. I don't like confusion. So I seek to understand and I listen to the best of my ability. And sometimes I totally fall off the wagon and it's just, whatever I think. So I'm not saying that I'm perfect in that, but my goodness, if you can just hear and see what the position from which they're coming, just like you're coming from a position, they're coming from some position. And if you could just see that and experience that beyond the words, if you can understand their emotional state, because this is, we can go through lots of books on this stuff too, but their chronic emotional state is going to shape how they communicate and what they want you to think. Tell you what, this has not been an easy path for me. When it comes to objective things like, black mug, yeah, piece of cake. Got it. I totally get what you're saying. Black mug. How many of us are engaged in more complicated conversations than that all day? Linda, you're on with some customer or potential customer, and they're going to be throwing out all kinds of stuff which may seem non sequitur or whatever. Can you hear it? Can you hear what they're actually saying? Right. And I know you've been doing some training on this, right? So you can hear more and more and more, right? When Stuart goes out into the wilds and he sees a certain plant, can he see the difference between these two similar looking items? He can. He's got those distinctions because he's looked and looked and looked. For us to be effective, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, we're going to have to be able to communicate at a way higher level than most people are. And if you guys want to, dive more into that, I can show you courses and stuff on that. But it's, I'd say if there's one thing to get really good at, just to get your way through this planet, through this insane asylum that we're on, is get really good at communication, seeing and hearing, literally and metaphorically. Speaking of metaphors, Wayne, it's good to see you, right? Wayne loves metaphors. Wayne has a whole series that he did here for like a year on metaphors for success. You can catch the replays in our members site. Great archive of stuff in there. All right, guys. Any thoughts on this? I didn't have this. None of this was planned. This just channeled through me. All I did was look at you, and this is what came out. I just looked at you. Any thoughts on this? You guys in communication, Missy? You in communication with any interesting people who don't say what they mean or mean something or
Oh,
whatever?
a lot of that going on. But in the business realm,
Yeah.
so when I'm attempting to be cause, not attempting, I am the cause, making the call, making the appointment, and you start to listen, and within a few sentences, you can get a fairly good snapshot
hmm
of who they are. So I try to tweak depending on who the person is. Like I had a lady said, I'm 70 and I'm afraid. I didn't know what she was afraid of, but she's just an afraid person. So I'm calling her back because she said I had to wait a month. So calling her back, I don't exactly know what to say to this person to allay her fears. I don't know what to say to the guy who said, he called me. He said, okay, I sent him a text. He called me. And I said, okay, do you have any time? He goes, no, I have the grandchildren. I have no time. Like, well, I don't, why did he call me? And then there's no time. I said, well, what time do you have? And then there's no answer. So
He just wanted a break from the kids.
probably. But I played dumb. I said, what do you mean? Does this mean you can't do an appointment? You can. You want to, the grandchildren could be there. You know, there's nothing. So, but he called me. Just don't make that call because I'm trying to affect you. And believe me, you don't want me to affect you in a wrong way.
All right. So let's talk about that. So what do we find that people who are angry or antagonistic typically do? They stop others, right? So I just think about that. And this is like pretty deep if we go there. But if you've got someone who is throwing a stop in front of you, is that more antagonistic or is that more cooperative, right? And like enthusiastic? No, it would definitely be more on the, on the stop side versus the go side, right? So think about that, Missy. Ingrid's got her finger doing this.
Yeah, so I'm curious. So the guy called you. I'm convinced he needed a break from the grandkids, and he just sort of like, right? So wouldn't it be useful to just, meet him where he's at, have a chat about whatever the hell he wants to chat about, and then, leave it at that. Like you have him slotted as an appointment and a thing, and he wants a break from, I swear he wanted a break from those kids. So I would think a little honey would go farther.
I didn't get a chance to use any because we have been in touch December, January, February, March, for 5 months.
So there's a continuity there. He sort of, he needed a break. I would think just go with them and not even, then you can go back to him later, I would say, because now you had this little
how are those grandchildren? Send how are those grandkids doing?
Yeah, and just sort of, now he trusts you on a certain level because he needed a break from those kids. I'm going back to that all the time. So I would think just go with that and just, I don't know. That's just me.
That's a good idea. I'm going to try it. Thank you very much, Ingrid.
I like it. There's the power of the mastermind, right? Now, if you're really attached to your position and being right or whatever, then you don't have that flexibility, right? So what Ingrid's talking about is having a bit of space to just confront what is, right? Here's this guy communicating something with you. Well, what's behind that? Ingrid got it, right?
I have actually something on that note. I have someone who is, he sends me things every once in a while by text, like a meme or something. Doesn't have any time for appointments ever, but obviously either has only 3 friends in his life on his phone or just decided that I'm worthy of like some of these memes. And he just keeps sort of sending them and I kind of go, haha, that's amazing, or what, whatever. And it's curious to me because he then has no time for appointments, but he has time for this. So it's an interesting, how do you kind of gently get this guy back on roll, or do you just kind of go, that's nice, he's the supplier of memes in my life, maybe that's his job? I don't know. What do you do, John?
You can engage or ignore depending on how much time you have. I have people that send me stuff all the time and I'm like, I just, if I acknowledge it, then
like me.
Right. Well, no, you and I have purposeful conversations too, but the idea that I have free time to, look at their memes and whatever, I'll look and sometimes I'll just give a thumbs up or a smiley face or whatever. But if I spent my whole day accommodating everyone's memes, then I don't know. We just sit on Facebook all day, and you could tell me about what you ate for lunch, and here's the latest memes or whatever. I don't know. You can get to the point where, like, as the chief executive officer of your enterprises and whatever you do, where you're not going to be as accessible to the general public or the guy with the memes or whatever, right? So thinking ahead a little bit, what if you did have your secretary, Ingrid, and here's your frontline, your gatekeepers, right? Can the whole world just impinge upon you all day long? You'd never get anything done. So just think ahead a little bit. Do you have to engage with this guy? Now, if he's a customer or something, then keep the communication lines open. But my goodness, people can piss away time like they're immortal. Amazing. So, but no, I wouldn't group you in that group. You could send me a meme every now and then. One every other week is fine. Okay. Thank you, Ingrid. And if it happens to be not a meme, but actually a high fidelity recording of you playing that new violin, well,
That would do.
That's quite welcome. Quite welcome. You can send me that all the time. What do you think, Linda?
Well, John, I'm just looking at some notes that I took through Path to Agreement, which is the sales thing that Proctor puts together. And this one thing is just standing out. It just says, when you form the habit to help your prospects get what they want in life, the law will see that your customers will be the medium through which your good will be delivered to you. That is the law.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something that stood out today that kind of, but it's
Good.
appropriate for this conversation. Yeah, and I mean, I had this one customer for 2 months, and he wouldn't shop. And finally, I'm like, so Robert, when and he owned a hotel. It's like he needed certain products, and it's like, when are you gonna buy? When are you gonna shop? And he's like, well, if I shop, you're never gonna talk to me again. And I was like, well, that's not true. You'll be my customer. I'll take special care of you, And so then he finally leaped off and shopped, and he's very happy. A very happy customer, loves the products.
And now you never talk to him, right?
Well, I check in with him, how's it going? He sent me some pictures of, before and after, and
Right.
It's kind of funny though.
Okay, good. Well,
Yeah.
so then that worked, and some cycles take longer to complete than others.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Linda, I like what you just said. He had a fear. He had a fear that once he bought, you wouldn't talk to him anymore.
Yeah.
And Shannon has told us, before and after pictures are really powerful things. So I think he gave you a gift there. But and Missy, yes, you can't spend all time just chit chatting, but what can I do for you today, or what's on your mind? You don't want a half an hour discourse, but just a little bit of open human warmth is sometimes what people need.
Well, I do try. I have a lady, she sends me 30 YouTube videos a day of an hour length. And I said, you needed time. I say, after a month, I said, well, you ready to take a look at the store now? I can't. I have to wait till the estate closes. So now we're on that one. I said, well, thank you for the videos. I can't watch them all too big. She sent me 10 more. It's like, no comprendo. I don't know what it is. Just, I guess lonesome. I don't know. But, she's likable. And then I don't care if she shops or not, really, because she probably wouldn't hang on. But she just needs a connection.
You thanked her for the videos, so she was supplying more.
Yeah, she's
Right.
helpful. Maybe
But
not.
nobody can
respond.
watch that many videos a day. It's just,
Okay. Well, we need to balance that with the other thing that's coming up for me is what you resist persists, right? So if we're taking issue with it and we're having attention on it and all that, so what if you just let it go, right? I mean, I got a delete button right here. I can delete stuff, and I mean, it's fast and fast. In fact, there's on a Mac, there's Command A, which is, all, and then the delete button, and then it's all deleted, right? So I just like I go through my inbox and I look at, oh, this one's from, so and so. It's from Missy. Definitely delete that one. No, read that one, right? And then find, here's important, and then answer them, touch it once, right? And then all the rest, Command A, delete, done, inbox empty. So
I do. It's texting. I do. It's just that
You're just fascinated by the fact that she's sending them.
And they're all like fake talk. It's very strange.
But you're listening to them too. So
I'm not.
Well, how are you knowing that they're
I
fake
look
talk?
for 1 second. There's a guy's mouth going like this that has nothing to do with the words being said. It's a woman's voice. It's bizarre. She's a patriot, but she's not. I need her to do something at a certain point. Thank you for sending me all these videos.
She
I'm
knows.
gently every
Let her
once in a
go.
while. Are you ready?
it sounds like a lonely person who's probably on some sort of psychiatric drugs or something, and that's what you get. There's that.
Well, she thinks I'm her cousin because she's
There you go. So
real
but-
father was named Meyer.
you're
Look,
busy, Missy.
yeah,
I
take Ingrid's advice. Ingrid, you know how to turn on and off, right? On, off. So Ingrid, you've got that switch, and yeah. Okay. Maybe turn that one off. All right. Any other thoughts on this? Thank you, Janet, Missy, Linda, Ingrid. Right. Any other thoughts on hearing and seeing? Yes, Stuart.
Stuart's got a hot mic. Oh my goodness. Forgive me. I'm in a little bit of an altered state. I pulled an all-nighter doing taxes. And then I want to say around 6:30 or so, when the sun came up, I was like, oh, it's book study. I better grab a copy of The Gap and the Gain. And I couldn't get through the first chapter, dude. And,
That bad.
but I will. But yeah, the moment he started smack talking Thomas Jefferson, I was like, what is he saying? How does he even, what information is this person using to say that Thomas Jefferson wasn't happy, right? And then of course I went on a whole tangent and I was looking up, what did he mean by the pursuit of happiness and all this kind of stuff. And
His whole argument is based on one word: pursuit.
right. And we can talk about it later tonight. I thought that was pretty interesting. So then I started calling the book The Gripe and the Groan. With all due respect to Virginia, and I'm sure it's a wonderful book, and I will get into it later before this evening. But you know what I wound up doing, John, was I went from that to opening up James Allen's 365-day meditations and pulled up the passage for today on truth, and just kind of changed my whole attitude about everything. So I was very happy about that. When you're talking about communication and language, like there's an agreement, right? It's almost like a social contract or a consensus that goes on in terms of language, right? And immediately I thought of like the Tower of Babel, and how when people weren't able to understand each other, chaos ensued, and the world separated and cracked and all that kind of stuff. And then of course I started thinking about how now our language has been usurped, right? And one of the ways to control society or drastically alter society is by controlling and changing the language, right? And this happened during the Cultural Revolution. immediately I think of Orwell and doublethink or doublespeak, right? And war is peace, and freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength, and all this kind of stuff. And now, you know, what was it? The Supreme Court Justice nominee of recent couldn't say what the definition of a woman is. And you hear about things like pregnant men now, and there's a pregnant man emoji on the iPhone.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, it's a pregnant man. It's like a dude with a beard, and a little
It's not
pooch.
just a beer belly?
No, dude, it's a pregnant man. And then do you remember the whole thing with I think it was in Congress, they can't say, or maybe in the House, they passed law, you know, and the pronouns and all this stuff, and God bless us all, and I respect everybody, but you know, compelled speech and changing language is one of the fastest ways to change society. And then there was another one where you can't say certain things in schools now. You can't use you know, gender specific family members. You can't say mother or father or brother or sister. You have to say parents or siblings or things like that.
Yeah. I just
what's
sent
the
you
other
the
one that
pregnant
really-
man emoji.
What's the other one? Birthing persons. Have you heard of that? Right? You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
be like a
Well,
preg-
well, look, I mean, Marxists debauch the language. That's a tool of, yeah, that's a tool of that school of thought.
Agreed. A couple more things I wanted to say about that, because they even changed the definition of a vaccine, right?
Yeah, they did.
Right, a vaccine used to be something that would prevent transmission and prevent you from getting it. Now, you know, you can be vaccinated and you can still get the thing and you can still spread the thing or whatever. So that happened just a few months ago. You were talking about ignorance before, and as a wordsmith, immediately I think of ignorance versus nescience. And I don't know if you've heard that word or gone off on that, down that little rabbit hole, but ignorance or ignorance, right, implies that you have the information available and that there is a willful avoidance of the truth or that information. Nescience is where that information is either unavailable or unattainable. So I even create a distinction between the two. And I just, you know, that's what came up for me. And, you know, communication and sales and things like that. And I've been telling you that we've been, you know, doing a whole new kind of e-commerce gig. And, you know, I'm getting messages. We're selling a lot of Asian arts, right? And so I'm getting messages from people, and it's literally like Chinese characters with a question mark. And so I have no idea what that person is trying to say to me. And so then I've got to go into Google Translate and cut and paste. And I'm having whole conversations with people where I'm essentially having to translate and then retranslate, you know, and have these communications with people. And it's been fascinating, and I've been really enjoying it. But anyway, man, great talk. You're on fire today, buddy. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Thank you. Interesting to hear what happens tonight. We'll see. So be here at 9 p.m. for fireworks. So all right, good times. Anybody else on hearing and seeing? All right, good stuff. We'll be back here at 9 p.m. Eastern. Wayne, great to see you. And I guess in the meantime, let's go be very deliberate about our day today. Let's go really get in communication and really see and really hear. And I'll see you guys back here at